Okay.
It started as a German farming community in the mid-1800s. They came at a time when there was a lot of revolutions and wars going on in Europe. And over here, Texas had taken this land away from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were going to try to take it back. So they needed some more folks here.
Right.
So they actually advertised in European newspapers and magazines for people to immigrate and buy land.
Mm-hmm.
They came into Galveston. A lot of them went up into central Texas. And one gentleman, Mr. Carl Winchie, came to this area
Right.
and bought hundreds of acres.
Oh, wow.
So some more folks came and they too bought hundreds of acres. So pretty soon we were a really prosperous farming community.
Yes.
And they were farming the cash crops of the South, which was cotton and sugarcane.
Yes.
So when Texas became a state, they started needing railroads. They gave grants to companies to build railroads. And the railroad on the east side of town is an original land grant railroad. We're having an exhibit in the back room celebrating the 150th anniversary of the first line to come through. And the reason we're here in this exact spot is these big old steam engines could only go about 20 or 25 miles before they needed water.
Wow.
And they needed about 30,000 gallons of water.
Ooh, that's a lot of water.
So we had an artesian well here. So that's why the town is located where it is.
Right.
And then they put in a second line from Houston that went west and wound up in Fort Worth.
Right.
That's when we became a railroad town.
Right.
Because people came to work on the railroad, people came to do business with the railroad.
Yes.
At one time we had a hospital, we had a bank, we had a drugstore, and a pharmacist, and a doctor. We had an ice cream store because we had an ice house. We had grocery stores, drugstores, hotels, boarding houses, saloons. It was a busy place until the 1920s, and the railroads moved into Houston.
Yes.
And then with the Depression and the wars and everything, the little town just became a sleepy little village for about the next 50 years.
Right.
And then in the late 60s, early 70s, some folks started opening shops in the little houses and buildings that were still here. There are 11 of the original 1900 houses and 4 of the original commercial buildings still here.
They have preserved all of the houses.
They're pretty much, most all of them are shops now, but the interiors and everything are the same. Some of the colors are a little strange. They're not exactly Victorian colors, but everybody tries to, keep the old look inside and out. And so it was, things have been up and down over the years. And then in the 80s, they decided this shopping thing was going pretty well. So they decided to market it as Old Town Spring. Before that, we were spring and we were old.
Right.
And the roads were dirt.
Right.
So in the 90s, some folks got together and decided they needed to save some of this old stuff and tell some stories. So that's what we tried to do. And like I said, in our back room, we have a special exhibit on the history of the railroad on the east side, which I said is 150 years old.
Okay.
So walk around, have a look, and if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you. What's your name?
My name is Sue.
Miss Sue. Thank you for the education for the history of this town. I'm really a history buff. I've been to Stockyard in Fort Worth. I've also been to Galveston.
Yeah.
I've been to all these places.
Have you ever been to the Bryan Museum in Galveston?
No.
Next time you're down there, if you like Texas history, that's probably one of the best Texas history museums in the state.
Right. I was in Cotton Bowl and Fair Park in Texas, in Dallas.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of historical things. Also, I went to the Alamo, the one on the
San Antonio.
San Jacinto River area. There is a small museum down there. The tower over there, San Jacinto Tower. So, that's very historical and I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Sue, for your
Thanks for coming
great
by.
illustration. Yes.
Bring your son by and I'll